Hello, friends. Welcome to the session on artificial intelligence and generative AI. Thank you for joining. First of all, I wish you a very happy New Year 2026. It's just like started, but I see that it's quickly running. We already passed the second day. If you're in US, if you're in India, it's the third day already. Wonderful. So today's session will be a kind of a demo session for artificial intelligence and generative AI. We will try to understand the basics of these topics. I'll first walk you through the different sections of the course so that you get a fair amount of idea about what we are going to cover in the next 2 months. And then we will do a demo. It would be a practical hands-on demo. We'll be doing a demo on generative AI so that we understand it from right from the first day itself, rather than talking about theoretical concepts and so on and so forth, and then getting into the practical at a later point. My style is like we need to get into the concepts fairly quickly, and the practicals are very, very essential. So let me quickly talk about the topics which we are going to cover in the course. Currently, we are learning about the basics of AI and generative AI and agentic AI. We will also learn about something called as classical machine learning and so on. So the first section is introduction to AI. Now, when I say AI, it comprises of a lot of things. We will be covering the basics of AI. We will be covering different uh, practical applied applications of AI. We will be understanding what are the different segments of AI, like classical machine learning. Within that, we have supervised, unsupervised, and then we will also understand about generative AI and agentic AI. So those all get covered in the first section, where we will just touch the waters. We'll try to understand how is how is the space evolving, what are the different things available in this space, and so on. We will spend a week or so on this topic. Once we complete the introduction to AI, we'll get into something called as Python for AI. Now, Python becomes the de facto standard language. We could do artificial intelligence in other languages also. You could write it in Java, JavaScript. You could do it in Go. You could also do it in another language called as R. But Python has become kind of a de facto standard because the availability of a lot of libraries, a lot of toolings, community support, all those things are very much available for Python. While the other enterprise grade applications like Java, JavaScript, they are evolving, but the integrations and the community support is not as good as Python. So it becomes quite essential for us to learn Python. And here we are not going to learn like what is a variable in Python, what is a class in Python. So that's not the target for learning the Python for AI, but we will be focusing on the applied AI part, where how do I use a Python as a language for doing AI applications? There are some libraries which we are going to go in detail, but this is where our effort and energy will be. If you're already familiar with some other programming language, maybe like Java or JavaScript or .NET or any other things which you have done in the past, then rest assured that you will be able to comfortably do Python. It's not very hard to learn that. The learning curve is very easy. And while we are going through the course, you will be understanding that, how these libraries are used, how we can use it for creating applications of AI and so on. Now, once we complete the Python, then we get into a section called as applied AI or classical machine learning. Now, classical machine learning is where a lot of business is happening right now. Now, while there is a lot of trend towards generative AI, agentic AI, and other things, but if you ask the businesses, if I ask the companies, where is the money generated? Where is the ROI currently uh, achieved? Then people will say that it is in the classical machine learning. So classical machine learning talks about traditional machine learning algorithms, the traditional AI algorithms which are used in the day-to-day business. It can be, predicting loan applications. It can be identifying churn. It can be detecting fraudulent transactions, or it can be doing some recommendations, campaign management. So there are different set of algorithms which are used for doing the day-to-day AI models. Like they are the day-to-day AI applications, which will help us to bring some revenue. Suppose you are applying for a loan, there is a model which is working in the back end, which tries to identify your credit score, your spending patterns, your other details. And then based on all those details, you can get an instant approval. And that is basically from a classical machine learning model. While now there is a lot of trend towards generative AI and agentic AI, we're going to see in last year, we saw that there is a lot of focus on creating POCs, creating enterprise applications using these technologies. In 2026, we are going to see more a focused application-oriented focus for these technologies. So we'll understand as we go through the course, like how this space is evolving and what are the practical applications which are built in that space. So this classical machine learning will spend around 20 days or so, 15 to 20 days we'll spend on just the classical machine learning, which talks about supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning. Then we then get into the generative and agentic applications. The next step after this is what I call as generative AI. Today we'll do a quick practical demo on this also. In the generative AI, is the focus is that how do you use AI as a technology to generate information? Uh, you can have an existing data that can be massaged, understood, summarized. Then you could do a lot of applications which can generate new information, new content. All those things fall under the generative AI category. We'll spend around 2 to 3 weeks on this specific topic, and then we'll get into something called as agentic AI. Now, agentic AI is one step further to generative AI, where we are trying to see like how we can connect existing systems along with generative AI. Like, for example, I want to automate the entire call center of my application. My call center might be doing call tracking. Maybe uh, a call can be automatically recorded and then transcribed, and the transcription can be sent into a backend system, which will analyze what is the transcription about, and then it can call multiple subsystems. Maybe it is calling a loan application system, personal loan department, or credit card department, and so on. So in agentic AI, what we do is along with generative AI capabilities, we'll also integrate what we call as agents or tools. The tools are very specific. They can be third-party tools, there can be internal tools, there can be applications, they can be API calls. So likewise, you will be doing a lot of integration with current existing systems so that we can automate the existing process. That's what we will be understanding in the agentic AI space. Now, after we do all these things, it is also very, very essential to productionize these applications. Many times people don't learn a lot about actual production grade application. They will learn about a tool, they'll learn about how to do a POC, they'll learn about an LLM, and then a small project which start. But if at all I want to deploy this application into production, what all things we need to do? That will be covered in the section called as ML Ops and LLM Ops. Maybe in 2026, we will also have something called as Agentic Ops. But as the time progress, we'll try to see how things are going to change. But this is where you are trying to understand that once I have the application available, once I have a classical machine learning model or a generative AI model or an agentic AI model, how do you deploy this into production? How do you connect with external systems? How do Dockerize it, use something like Kubernetes to deploy into applications and so on. So this is quite essential, or else most of the effort will be just in the POC stage. But we want to go beyond the POC stage and enter into a stage where you're productionizing the real applications. And last but not the least, we will learn something about called as cloud computing. Now, cloud computing for AI. So this is where we talk about different cloud providers. We will be talking about AWS, GCP, and Azure. These are the different cloud providers, which are popular ones. There are other smaller ones as well, but these are the popular ones, the AWS, Azure, and GCP. So we'll be talking about the toolings which are necessary for, doing the AI work. For example, how do you train the models? How do you deploy your models? What are the toolings? There are some native toolings provided by these cloud providers. And believe me, most of the AI related work is now happening in the cloud. So your company might be using one of the cloud. It can be AWS or Azure or GCP. While there is also an effort on doing on-prem for some mission critical legal compliant applications. If you are in a banking or an insurance or some kind of industry which is highly regulated, you will try to do it on local systems, local instances, on-prem systems, where you will have all these applications developed on the on-prem. But if you ask me, the distribution is around 80 to 90% are on the cloud, and the rest 10 to 20% are on the on-prem systems. So we need to understand about those cloud providers. Specifically, here we are not going to become an uh, AWS associate kind of a thing. It's not like we are understanding about the cloud toolings, like how does a virtual machine works or how does a storage works. So that's not what our target. Our target will be like in the cloud providers like AWS or Azure or GCP. How do you do AI? Right? So what are the methodologies? What are the toolings we use for doing AI? For example, in AWS, we have something called as AWS Bedrock or AWS SageMaker. In Azure, we have Azure AI Studio. Similarly, in GCP, we have something called as Vertex AI. So these are different offerings which are provided by the cloud providers. Pretty much most of them will be more or less the same, but there are some kind of tools which are proprietary by the cloud provider, so that you will understand, like, how the tool is working, what is it capable of doing, and so on. So those are the things we will be covering. So this entire thing will take us 2 to 2.5 months. So how much is the duration, you might ask? Sitaram, this is all good, but what is the duration of the course? So duration will be 2 to 3 months. So typically 2 months, but we will have Sankranti holidays, we will have these holidays, those holidays and all. So typically it will be around 2 to 2.5, roughly around that. If there are any new topics coming up, what I do is I try to have additional sessions on the new topics. Specifically, as I said, that if there is something on agentic ops, right, which we don't have right now, So if there is something on agentic ops, then probably we will try to do some sessions on that so that we get a very clear idea. So this is will be a two months of investment. You need to put your time. Every day there will be 1 hour session. Uh, it will so session duration will be 1 hour. So I can say 45 minutes plus 15 minutes Q&A. Right, so this is so first session today, it will be a little lengthy because there can be some questions, there can be some doubts and so on, but generally our sessions will be of duration of 1 hour, and then it will be 45 minutes plus or minus plus 15 minutes. So overall it will be a 55 minutes to 1 hour duration time, where the actual content will be covered in 45 minutes. Then we will have spent some time so that to clarify any of your doubts or questions or any of the topics and so on. So when will this happen? Typically, I'm in India, and it will happen my time 6 a.m. IST. So my time will be in the morning. So my schedule is really, really packed. I start my day at 5:30. It's always good that people say that we have to be a morning raisers. And fortunately, because of the training and other things, I'm getting into that kind of a mode for many years now. So my day starts early at 5:30. So my first batch will be at 6 o'clock, and there will be another batch at 7 o'clock. Then I go for my job. I do a full-time job. I lead a large machine learning group for a large banking corporation. And I have close to 20 years of experience in the IT industry, and typically around 12 years of experience in the data space itself. And for past 10 years or so, I'm also doing these trainings. While you can say I'm a trainer, but I'm a very passionate trainer. So this is uh, my what I mean to say is my passion, where I can spend time. If you ask me to spend time for almost like 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, or even full day, I will be able to take sessions on that, and that is very naturally comes to me. From an educational standpoint, I have completed my master's from BITS Pilani, and I'm currently doing a dual doctorate degree. And this trainings are also helping me to do a lot of research in my doctorate degree. One doctorate is happening from IIIT Hyderabad. That's a proper part-time PhD. It will take me many years. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the way PhD works. It's quite a daunting process. It takes many years. I'm in the midway in the PhD, and I'm also doing a second doctorate from Rushford Business School. It's it's basically a doctorate in business administration. Because I'm into a leadership position, it always is quite essential for me to understand how the businesses change and adoption of AI into the businesses. So it's quite essential for me. So I'm doing that. Probably that will take another 1 year, 1.5 years. So maybe next year, 2027, probably I can become a doctor. That's one of the dream. All right, so that is about the sessions. So if let me see if I covered anything. So 6 a.m. IST. So you need to map it with US time. So if you are in US, right? So this one probably it will be 7:30 EST or something. Okay, I have to check whether that, because this the daylight saving time changes and all, right? So I have to check whether it is 7:30. If you are in US times, let me know. 6 a.m. IST to EST. Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Correct. So it is 7:30 p.m. is the timing if you are in EST time zone. And if you are in any other time zone, then you have to map it accordingly, right? So that's about it. Any questions on this at the moment? Because I'm going to switch gears. We're going to spend another 30, 40 minutes on getting into some practicals, and I hope it will be interesting for you. But before I get into it, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can put in the chat window or you can unmute yourself and ask, whichever is feasible for you. So there's a question that
Please
is
go
a
ahead.
Python a prerequisite? If you are familiar with any programming language, so say like Java or .NET or C, C++, or any other programming language, it is kind of okay, right? But if you don't know any programming language, this is the first time I'm writing code, then I would recommend you need to do a basics of Python. Of course, there are a lot of videos on the on the internet which talks about the basics of Python. When I say basics of Python, it's about programming with Python, right? So how do you write functions, classes, and interactions, and those things, object-oriented programming with Python. So that is what we need to understand. But if you are familiar with any other programming language, you're rest assured because our course will cover the Python required for AI. Right? Got it?
Who are your typical audience for this class? Who do you see taking this course, and how do you see them use in their professional life?
Now, see, over the years, the way I've seen is my audience are different groups, but the course caters to the generic. If you ask me, it would be like somebody who is like a senior developer, to like a um, module lead or technical lead kind of that role. The bracket is that. So if you ask me, like somewhere around 5 years to say 12 years range bracket, or somebody who is like a developer working on IC, it is very much suited for that. But over the years, the way I've seen is my course, there were people from different backgrounds, people from QA background, people who are business analysts, people who are already leading projects. So they are already into the delivery, project management, product management, and things like that. So depending upon the type of skill they have or they already possess, they need to identify how to use the technology for their work. There will be one demo which I take on end-to-end AI. There I will talk about if we have different roles. Suppose I am a QA developer, right? So how do we use this course or learning AI and where what to learn, how to learn, and how to pitch into getting into a AI related jobs, right? If we are from a data background, maybe doing a data warehousing or data engineering, then how do I use it? If I'm from a front-end development, maybe I'm a full stack developer and I want to now venture into AI development, what type of roles we should take. So that's how it works. If we are in a senior position, like say you're already leading a project or you're like a program manager or a delivery person kind of a thing, for such kind of people, they need to understand the business perspective, like how do we use AI for solving the core business problems? Where is the ROI? Which type of tools are used? They are not required to do any coding, but they need to direct teams for doing certain work. And this course will help them understand all the nuances. There are people who also geared up, they are project kind of managers where they also geared up and learn the technicalities of the course so that they are now very comfortable in taking decisions or directing the teams and so on. So that's how it is worked.
Okay, so depending on where people, which part that you defined right now, they would focus on those specific modules more deeply, and some may gloss over some of those. If someone is in the project management area, then they might probably gloss over some modules, but
Hmm.
would still continue through to get the overall hang of this
Yes,
course.
yes. So during the course, what I also do is we will do some assignments to identify job roles and profiles and so on. So it's an important assignment because these courses are good, and believe me, there are some courses which are even in Udemy. You go to YouTube also, you'll get this information. It's not like any rocket science. What is very essential is like how does it fit to my profile, and what changes I need to do to pitch into some kind of a role progression. It also requires us to do a lot of research in terms of like where I am, what are the current roles in my geography, what type of companies are asking for roles. So last year we did a lot of research on this front, like what are the roles. So we saw that there is an increase in AI engineer roles. So we kind of geared towards generative AI, agentic AI more, because that's where the roles are coming up, and then people were able to switch towards that kind of roles. So this year also we need to do that kind of analysis, and it is very what I mean to say, it's very personal, because every person is having a different expertise, different skill set, and so on. So we need to do that. Once we do that, then we can get better out of it. Right?
So that's something we'll do as part of this course at some point.
Yeah, it's a parallel activity. While we are learning the things, I will give assignments on, for example, identify core companies, identify different job roles, do job role descriptions given to the corresponding experience level, and so on. And then that will be a personal assignment, right? It's nothing related to the course, but it is a personal assignment so that it will give us more clarity.
Got it.
All right. So there is one question into real estate valuations, non-technical role. Um, to suggest if your course will help me. Non-technical role in agentic AI and generative AI, there are toolings which basically is a no-code, low-code toolings are available. But this course is technical, so I'll not fool around saying that this is for everyone. And but if you are inclined towards learning AI and using it for your day-to-day work, then this will help you. But this will require you to learn the technicalities and apply that. And it depends upon how much technical depth is required, whether you could just live away with the non-technical tools. There are low code, no code tools. You don't need to write a single line of code, but you can use it for your AI automation. So that depends. But it requires you to analyze that whether you're inching towards that direction or not. And but this course is a technical course. Got it? Any other questions? Probably I'll spend 2 more minutes, guys, and after that we'll jump into the course. I'm sure you will have a lot of questions. Please put the questions in the chat window, and then I'll answer all of them. Don't worry, I'll not go anywhere. I'll answer all the questions, and then we will close the session. But before that, we need to get into the meat of the session, right? So let me get into that part. All right, so people are asking this technical thing and non-technical, whether it is good or not. So today's session will actually give you a glimpse about how we are going to do. So it will require us to do technical, and it is a fast-paced course. We will require to practice, do some practical things, and so on. So let me quickly get into the code part of it. So I'll take you. So what we'll do is we'll learn about some of the LLMs, and I'll show you the LLMs, the large language models, which are open source ones, and then a tooling which can help you to run these open source LLMs on your machine. And then I can quickly create an application which can do some simple things. So we are going to do a practical generative AI based explanation. So time on my clock is 8:35. So we'll spend the 30 minutes, and within 30 minutes, I'm sure you will see there will be a lot of learning. Okay. So first things first, I'll go to something called as olama.com. So this is olama.com. Olama.com is a website which will host a lot of LLMs. Now, what is an LLM? The model behind the generative AI applications. For example, I have ChatGPT. The LLM behind ChatGPT is the OpenAI based models, the OpenAI GPT 4.0 models, GPT 5 models, GPT 5.2 models. These are the models which are behind the applications like ChatGPT. You can also go to gemini.google.com. The model behind the gemini.google.com is a Gemini 2.5 Pro or Gemini 2.5 Flash. These are the models. There are some image models, there are some video models, there are some generic purpose models. So these models are the ones which are actually the meat of the generative AI. They are the ones which are doing the predictions. They are the one which are doing new generation of information, content, and so on. Now, likewise, Olama is a website which will store all the open source models. So this website, I can go to the download first. I click on the download, then it says olama.com/download, and it will provide you different options to download this software. So this is like an executable. You don't have to download right now, but just observe. You could do it at a later point. Depending upon your OS, whether you are on Mac OS or Windows or Linux, you'll get an option. So I'm on Windows, so it says download for Windows. Once I download this, this will download an executable, and it downloads in my downloads folder. And once I run that executable, it will install the Olama on my machine. Now, how do I know whether the Olama is installed on my machine or not? If you're on Windows, on the right side, on the bottom right side, you will see there will be a Olama icon. So there will be like a blue little llama icon. So as you see, this is the llama icon. You will see like little llama icon with a blue tick, stating that the Olama is ready and able to uh, take instructions. Now, how to also confirm whether it is running or not, I can open up a command line prompt. Let me open a command line prompt. So I have a command line prompt and I can just say, oh, llama. To check whether the Olama is working, it is downloaded and I executed it. Uh, it is already available on my machine, and that's the reason I'm not showing the executing part, but it is like as you are installing any other software. So you download it and then run the executable. It will have some few steps. You say next, next, next. And then once it is installed, you can just come open a command line and say Olama. Once you run that, you should see some commands like this. Olama serve, create, show, run, and so on. And if you are seeing this, that means that Olama is installed on your machine. Okay, so what we are understanding is we went to a website called as olama.com. We will download the Olama executable and then run the executable on your machine. And to test it whether it is working or not, you just say Olama in your command line prompt and it will show you this information. This is good. Then let us see what all things we can do with Olama. I can go to this model section. I click on this models tab, and there you see there are a lot of models available. So there is this Nemotron, which was a latest model released, or the intelligent agentic AI model. It was released 2 weeks back. And similarly, this Olmo model, which is a open language models for document analysis. There is the Gemini 3 Flash Preview model, which is the latest Gemini 3 model, which is available for doing some of the popular ones. So if you can go and look at the popular models, these are some of the popular models which are available right now. So let me click this Nemotron 3 Nano model. Don't worry, what is this name, what I can do with this model, and so on. We will just understand that this is one model, Nemotron 3 nano model. And this is a new standard for efficient, open, and intelligent agentic models. This is the new agentic model. It released just 2 weeks back. So we are doing the very, very latest um, current model analysis and so on. And if you see, the size of the model is 24 GB, and it is having a context of 1 million. 1 million tokens means you can give 1 million words in input and output, right? So this is a context length, means you can send so much of information. You can send so many images, a lot of text. 1 million is a quite a huge context window. So you can send a lot of information. That's what I mean to say. So it takes 24 GB. So this model, if I take Nemotron 3 nano model, the latest model, it will take 24 GB. So your machine should have at least 32 GB of space. Are you understanding? If you want to run this model, because this model runs on the RAM, you need to have at least a decent size of RAM capabilities. So that is a limitation. So these models can run on cloud. You can run this model on the cloud and you will be able to execute this from the cloud. But if you want to run it on your local, you need to have a decent compute capability and minimum of the GB. So 24 GB means at least you need to have maybe a 30 GB of memory space so that you will have some memory for your regular applications, and the 24 GB will be occupied by this model. Now you will say that, Sitaram, I only have 16 GB or I only have 8 GB laptop. I can't run these models. Yes, we can't run these models, but we have some other models. Let us go back and then show you. And there are other models. If I can scroll down, there are Mistral models, Quen models, GPT OSS models, DeepSeek models. The DeepSeek model, let me click the DeepSeek model and show you what is this. So this is the model which released a couple of months back, I think 6 months back, where when this model was released, it brought down the Nvidia stock like anything. So if you're familiar with that era where the DeepSeek model was released and Nvidia's stock completely slashed, the reason is because DeepSeek models were trained on traditional CPU machines. Uh, and in the AI world, NVIDIA was kind of the market player in the GPU segment. GPUs are the ones which will help us to train the models. And they were boasting that they need the high GPU capabilities for doing mission critical AI work. But when DeepSeek released, they said that they just used the CPU machines for training the model. They didn't use the GPUs. And with that, the demand of GPUs drastically reduced, and then the stock fall drastically during that time. So if you see the DeepSeek R1 model, it is a open reasoning model. R1 represents the reasoning model. That means that you can ask any questions like riddles and all that stuff, and then it will be able to give output. And this is very powerful model. It is as powerful as the Gemini 2.5 Pro or the OpenAI O3 models. They are very powerful. And if I look at the sizes of this, there is the default model is around 5.2 GB. Now, this is a very reasonable size. You will be able to run a decent experiments on an 8 GB machine. If I have a 5.2 GB model, I will be able to run a decent experiment. Now, I can go also a smaller versions. There is something like DeepSeek R1 1.5B. What is this 1.5B means is that it is 1.5 billion parameters. Those many inputs are being used for training this model. This model, if you see DeepSeek R1 1.5B, just to take around 1.1 GB of space. So this is very comfortable. Even imagine you only have 4 GB of RAM. Uh, Even then, you will be able to run this model. I have downloaded this model and I am running this for our experimentation. you could directly experiment with this model and run it. So what is 1.1 GB? Now, how do I run this model? You just need to go to the command line, and then you have to say Olama run and the model name. Here, DeepSeek R1 means it directly points to the default version, which is this 5.2 GB. If I
Sorry, I
want,
have one
yeah,
question. I missed that 1.5B part. What does that represent?
1.5B represents the number of words which are used for training this model. We call them as parameters, the input
Okay.
which is given for training the model.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
So this one is the latest model, R1 model is basically 8 billion parameter model. The default model is an 8 billion parameter model. You can also go to even bigger ones. So you say 14 billion will take 9 GB, 32 billion parameter will take 20 GB. There is 671 billion parameter model, which takes around 404 GB. Now, 404 GB, where will I run it? This can only be run on cloud. You need to have high memory capabilities computing machines where I can run this model. But this is far powerful than the basic model, right? So basic models can do decent things. But if I want to do something like really crazy mission critical ones, then I will go for bigger ones. But bigger ones come with their own clauses. So I hope you are understanding that there are different models and there are different sizes of the models, and their sizes will help us to run them from my local. Now, if I want to run this model, the 1.1 GB size model, then the way I can do is I can run Olama run DeepSeek-R1 colon 1.5B. When I do that, I'll be able to run this model. Let us quickly look some other models. I'm interested to show you the Gamma model, the Gamma 3 model. This is a very powerful model. Gamma is the open source model from Google. And if you see, there is the Gamma default model is a 4 billion parameter model. It requires 3.3 GB of space. I can go with the Gamma 3 1 billion parameter model, and it just takes 850 megabytes. And there are different types of input output capabilities. So if I use the default Gamma model, it is able to do text as well as image processing. Maybe like I give text and I want to create an image out of it, it will be able to create. The default models like the 815 megabyte model is only a text model. So it can only answer questions and text wise and so on. All right, so let me quickly run this model on my command line. I'll show you how to do it. Clear it off. I have to say Olama run. Then the model name is this one, Gamma 3 1 billion parameter. I copy this and I do this. When I run this, what happens? For the first time when it runs, it downloads the model from the internet and then runs it on my command line. It is already downloaded on my local. So for the first time, it takes a few seconds to set it up. So it is already set right now and it is saying send a message. Now, what is it doing is I can now interact with this model. I can say, who are you? And say, I am Gemma and a large language model created by the Gemma team at Google DeepMind and all this stuff. So it is basically responding to my question. I can say, what can you do? So it is saying I can do creative writing, content creation, summarization, different writing styles, answering questions, conversational chats like chat bot, doing brainstorming, problem solving, learning. A lot of things can be done with this model. As you see, so I can say, can you tell me a joke? So I can ask like, can you tell me a joke? Where did it go? So this is the question. And it is saying, why don't data scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. This is the joke which it has provided. So why? So it says they make up everything. That's the reason data scientist uh, doesn't trust um, atoms. Right? Some nerdy joke, but it's okay. I can ask something else like I want to go to US for a 2 week vacation. Can you plan, please plan me a trip? So I'm asking to plan a trip for a 2 week vacation to US. So it's basically giving me all the details. So it's asking questions like, okay, what is your budget? What time are you planning? And something like all these questions. So I say, plan something for a medium budget of $3,000. I hope medium budget is $3,000. Then it is giving the breakdown of estimated breakdown, how much it will cost for a flight, accommodation. Then it is also giving the plan. So I can maximize this. As you see, it's giving me a plan. If you are in US, then you know, okay, it is asking me to go first week. It's going New York and Boston, then Charleston, someplace Charleston. Uh, okay, so some two, three places it is. Boston 5 day 5 to day 7, saying Charleston, then optional. It's giving some area for travel, right? And then it's also giving us some details of the planning. So what I did is I just loaded the model. So we spent like what, 15 minutes, and then what we saw is how to run a model on our local, how to invoke that model using the command line. Right? So within no time we are able to get this kind of a information. All right. Let me add one small layer to it. So I will show you the program. Now I'll show you the program and probably will stop it here. In the next session, I'll take you some more details. But for now, I think we'll go through the program, understand the basic details, and then we'll stop. So this is a program written in Python, and it is called as a Jupyter notebook, and it will be divided into multiple cells. Don't worry about what is the code, how we are doing, all that stuff. Let us not too much worry about it. But we will just see that, okay, we are using some libraries for doing our model calling and model invocation and so on. So there is one line which will help us to display the information in something called as markdown. So this is like a print line. And there is one input which is using our Olama model. So this will use one of the Olama's functions for calling the LLMs in the backend, right? So this is the function for that. And there is one other library called as Gradio, which will help me to do a quick UI. Okay. Probably today I'll just go through the basic ones. Maybe in the next session, I'll talk you about the UI part and how to do with the UI and so on. So these are the libraries which will be used. And I can use one of these models. I do have all these models on my local. I just showed you the Gemma 3 1 billion parameter model. So I can instantiate the model variable as this model. So model is equals to Gemma 3 1 billion parameter. And for calling the LLMs, you have to give two prompts. One prompt is called as a system prompt, and the second one is called as a user prompt. Now, while we are using ChatGPT and so on, we directly give user prompt. We are asking question like, can you create a trip? Can you summarize this paragraph? Write an email for so and so. All these things we regularly use ChatGPT. What we are giving to it is just this user prompt. We're just giving the user prompt. But when you programmatically invoke these models from the backend, we need to give two prompts. One is the system prompt, and the second one is called as the user prompt. Now, what is a system prompt? System prompt tells us that why are you calling this model? Because these models, like say the Gemma model, is a all-purpose model. Like it can ask, it can become a travel agent, it can become a cook, it can become a financial planner, it can become anything. So it is a general purpose model. Now, when you are talking to the model, you just need to give some kind of a boundary saying that you have to do so and so things and so on. So for that, you need to provide something called a system prompt, which will set the boundaries, which will say what this model should do, what are the boundaries of this model, what it should do and what it should not do. All those rules will be provided in the system prompt. Now here we are giving a very simple system prompt saying that you are a helpful AI assistant, a very simple prompt, but I can complicate the system prompt as much as possible. I can say you are a travel assistant, you are required to create nice travel plans, you are need to ask for locations, you need to do thorough research on locations, itineraries, activities. So I can give all those instructions and the model will perform accordingly, right? So that is the system prompt. The second one is the user prompt. So we just gave like, I wish to travel to US. So this is a user prompt. This is the question which we ask the model. I can also ask other questions, maybe like, let me change the question to show me a recipe for biryani. So I want to cook biryani and I want to a model to show the recipe for biryani. This is my user prompt. It's the question which we ask. So I run it. So first things first, let me run this model. So it basically imports all the models which will be used. And then I will instantiate the model and I run this third one, which sets the system prompt and the user prompt. And this is the call which goes to Olama. We will use a function called as olama.chat. And olama.chat expect two things. One is what is the model you're calling? And how are you sending the information to this model? So it will expect the system prompt and the user prompt, and there is some standard methodology in which we send these system and user prompt. This is an OpenAI standard. OpenAI says that you provide the system prompt as like role is system and the content will be system prompt, and the user prompt is role is user, content is user prompt. This is a standard mechanism in which you send information to the model. You're sending both the system prompt and the user prompt. And these two variables are instantiated here. The model variable is instantiated here. And when I call this Olama chat function, what it does is it calls this model, it sends this information, and output of that will get in the response. And the response is a big response. Within that, it is having something called as message. And within that, you have something called as content. That's where your information is. So once I run it, what it is now doing is it is calling my local gamma model, local gamma 3 1 billion parameter model. It might take around 15, 20 minutes, 20 seconds, not minutes. And then it responds in a nice manner. So Olama.chat, you call the model and send the messages, and that is going to cook us biryani for us. So as you're seeing, it has provided a nice output for biryani, and this is the markdown script. As you see, there is subheadings, the bold letters, and there are like bullets. All these things are something called as markdown script. If you're not understanding anything, don't worry, but just see that we within few lines of code, now we are able to do invocation to the LLMs. I can create the application and it can do a lot of things for us. Now it is cooking biryani. It gave me a lot of information like how much time it will take, how do you do the basic marinade, and how do you create the base for the biryani, how do you create the gravy and the garnish and the steps to do that. All that information is provided for us, right? So what we did is we spent around 30 minutes, and in the 30 minutes what we understood is how do you download a open source LLM models so that I don't have to use ChatGPT or Gemini or any other paid version of models. I can use free versions of this. I can create local invocations of the models. and do local processing. Now, why do we need to do local processing? Many companies, there are a lot of legal compliance related things. They don't want to send their information outside. So if I use a GPT model, or if I use a Gemini based model, or there is something called as Anthropic Claude models, the information goes outside. So we don't want to send our information outside. But if I want to create my own local applications, which are like legal and compliance related and things like that, then I can run all these things locally, and I can create applications for that. So within 30 minutes, we are able to understand all those things. In the next session, I'll go detail into how do you create a UI for this, and how do you expand this in a much more better manner, right? So for people who are not very familiar with the coding, can you see like how is this complex coding, or is it okay and you're able to understand this? Can I get some feedback?
Understandable.
You can put it in the chat. The code is
It's
okay.
understandable. Yeah.
Got it. So if you have any questions, please put that in the chat window. I'll be going through them and then I'll answer the questions. So there's a question that are we going to do real-time projects in the course? Whatever I just did now is a very real-time, right? So we will not be spending time on theoretical concepts that you can get it from internet also. And we will give some assignments where you have to learn certain things and so on. It's not like I'll not teach them, I'll teach them, but our focus is more on practical application. So we'll do a lot of real-time projects. Every module will be a project, a mini project kind of a thing, and it will be every day there will be a code where we'll understand about the details, how to create the application and all the nuances of the application and so on. We will do that, right? So did it answer the question? So this will be the style of the course. And there's another question from automotive industry quality manager. So for you, a quality manager, you need to wait for there will be one session, demo session, where I'll be talking about end-to-end AI applications, where I'll be focusing on different industry skill sets, like how they should get into the AI. So if you are from a QA background, how do you get into AI? If you are from an application development background, how do you get into AI? If you are from a DevOps background, what is the path or what is the doorway to get into the AI? So I'll talk about that. So please wait for that session. Uh, it will be a free demo session, so we will continue few more sessions for everybody to understand the style and the way the course goes and so on. So you attend that also, so you will get an understanding for that. So there's a question like, so we are creating applications, will it be in the sandbox environment? I'll talk about some of the toolings. You can create those applications in local, or we can also use Google Cloud. We will use something called as Google Colab for developing those applications. So I'll talk about those things as we go in detail. So I assume there will be focus on topics which will be questions in the interviews. Yes, I think focus is on that only, and and the trend is also changing. So we will also change the course where we have a major skeleton, but we'll also do a lot of work research on what are the different roles, what are the questions being asked in those roles, how do you tackle them. So we will learn in that manner, right? So focus will be on that. DevOps engineer, I want to transfer into AI/ML. What are the key concepts? Yeah, I think you need to wait for my other session. Please come to the next demos. In the next 2 or 3 days, I will talk about the demos. So next session, organizers will reach out to you when will be the next session. Today is the demo session. Next week, probably either my Tuesday or my Wednesday, the course will start. So there we will continue 1 or 2 sessions, which will be demos. I'll be talking about the end-to-end AI lifecycle, where I'll be talking about how QA guys should venture into AI, how DevOps folks can venture into AI, which is the right area. So that session should give you. So it should be the third session from now. Okay, so this is the first session. There will be another session, and after that, there will be third session. All right. So somebody asked about the general schedule. Let me talk about it. So 6 a.m. will be the timing, and it will be from Monday to Friday. So Monday to Friday IST. This is my time. Monday to Friday IST. Monday 6 a.m. to Friday 6 a.m., which will be Sunday night. Uh, what is Sunday night 7:30 p.m. EST to Thursday night 7:30 p.m. EST. Got it? It will be Sunday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. EST. This is the timing. Now I think the time is quite a night, right? Because today is a demo. We're doing the demo here, but the actual time is this. This will be the time. Sunday to Thursday, 7:30 p.m. EST. All the sessions will be recorded and the videos will be shared with you. So there will be a drive which will be created and all the videos will be available for you for lifetime. So there's a question right now. I'm doing masters. I'm trying to get into the AI ML domain. Yes, it will help you this because you are in the entry level roles. There are entry level roles in the AI ML where you also need to get more hands-on. So the best role for you will be something called as AI engineer role. That is the role which is very focused. Many master students are getting into those roles. So that should be your focus area. All right. Any other questions? Let me see if I have missed any questions. I think I've covered. If you have further questions, do let me know. I can wait for a few minutes. If not, we can close the session. Thank you very much for your time and have a good rest of the weekend. I'll talk if you guys join my session again. I'll talk to you next week. Probably our organizers will reach out to you. There will be either a session on Tuesday my time or Wednesday my time. So they'll reach out to you and give more information.
So would there be another demo before the actual
Yeah, so if you
no.
ask me, there will be few demos because there will be new people joining. So now I see there are 22 people here, right?
Mhm.
Maybe this very late for you. So some people don't join on Saturday. So they'll join on my Tuesday class. So there will be 2 or 3 days where I'll not be getting into a full details. So there will be 2 or 3 demos, but they are linked. I'll not repeat it the same thing again, but today we understood about how to run locally. I'll talk about how to do using a UI. How do I build a UI, quick UI to do the same thing? Then there will be one session on end-to-end AI, which I was talking about, different rules and progressions. So 2 or 3 demo sessions. So this week, next week, will be pretty much lighter, but from the week after. So let me show you. So for the week of 5th is Monday. The week of 5th will be lighter. Then mostly from week of 12th, the sessions will start.
Okay. So I just was waiting if anybody else had question. I didn't want to hog all the time. So
Yeah.
I'll just explain my situation. So I've been in the Java J2E space, and I have about 25 years of experience. So I'm in the hospitality industry and working as an senior architect in the company. So for the past couple of years, like every other company, the company where I'm working at, that also is trying to get into AI. So trying to figure out how to get into AI and how can we use AI to make our business better. So like our company is trying to grapple with this. From
Hmm.
my personal perspective, I am trying to see how I can learn this, make use of this, and also contribute and introduce within my company and show some ROI.
Hmm.
We have AWS, GCP, and in some places Azure.
Hmm.
So that's how things are. So from that perspective, I'm trying to see how this course I can make use of this course. Would it make sense, or uh, that's where we are.
Hmm. Yeah, as I said, right, focus areas are different for different people. For you, I think it's more on application oriented. Maybe you might not be getting into too much of coding technical details, but you might need to understand, how applications are there, where we can do automation, where will be ROI. Uh, and, for that, we need to understand that what is the current available tech stack, right? So if I understand that, okay, there is this new agentic thing which is coming up, which doesn't require a lot of coding, but that's where I have to identify workflows and how I can do automations and workflows. And how does that workflows look for a hospitality industry? Maybe it can be in, say, like hotels or things like that. So depending upon that kind of a thing, how does that workflows look like, where do we can do automations, so that is where your focus should be.
Hmm.
While to be very frank, this course will cover the entire breadth and depth of the things. You need to pick and choose the areas which will require for your work, so that will be completely relying on your these things. I will certainly help you. It is not like, okay, it's just like a general standardized course and then you take it, whatever I'm giving. I have done a lot of one-on-one sessions also for people. As I said, there are a lot of people, even people from finance background, they don't know anything about programming, software, anything, but they were able to get into the AI. So people, depending upon their common interest, right, they will connect with me one-on-one. Then there will be sessions which I schedule over the weekend. We'll spend like half an hour, 1 hour, and then they will try to jot down like plan of action, like how do we do it, and so on. So I think that is more at a personal level. Because I can talk on ROI, application development, and then automation and all that stuff, but that will not be generic enough. Somebody who is a fresher, somebody who is in the QA domain, somebody who is in the mid-career professional. So it will not be applicable for everyone. So that is my takeaway.
Okay, yeah. I mean, some modules would help, like the module one, obviously, foundation. Module two also is good enough. Python for AI. Module 3, NLP, then you have machine learning, NLP, deep learning from here on. And then Module 6, of course, generative AI. And I'm looking at the flyer that was shared.
Yeah. So those
That,
are those are core areas where, but we will be going into more detail in those areas, right? So how do we do generative AI applications? How do we do agentic AI applications? And what I also encourage is my students, they come up with real time use cases. So suppose say a hospitality domain,
Mm.
they'll come up asking that, okay, this is my problem statement. How do we build applications with this? How do we change a certain, how do you go about building applications in that? Then we will take that as the example, and then we will take some examples on that. So I'll dedicate 1 or 2 sessions on that, like, if this is the problem, where do we change? What do we change? How do we incorporate technology? What are the practical ways where other companies are implementing similar things and so on? So I think that is the way to go for such kind of use cases.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'll think more on it based on what you shared. And I'll look for the other demos that you have, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Uh, so even if you're not joining, no problem, but look at the other demos also. So you'll get a more idea about how things are changing, how the industry is moving. So I think that will certainly help. And it is for everyone. It's not just for you, but it's for everyone. Please do attend the other demos also, so that will give you more confidence, and then give
Sure.
a solid direction.
Sure. Thanks.
Wonderful. Any other questions, guys? If you do not have any questions, you want to drop off, you guys can drop off. There's no pressure, guys. If you have questions, please let me know. I'll stay for another 5 more minutes, maybe. All right. So if you don't have any questions, thank you very much for your time. I hope it was a nice session. We'll do more demos next week. Till then, take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.